Hello, Jeff Zwaring. Welcome back to Give and Take, the segment of our show where we talk about important and interesting scientific ideas and see how they point to the truth of Christianity. Today, we're joined again by Dr. Hugh Ross, founder and president of Reasons to Believe, and we're going to see if there's a connection between anti-icing surfaces and there being a creator. Hugh, it's good to have you here today.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Jeff.
So anti-icing surfaces, we're going to kind of talk about what that is, but there's this idea that we find designs in nature and that they point towards a designer. So let's kind of just, as we get into this, what was the creature, or what was studied, and what did the scientists find?
Well, Jeff, I grew up in Canada, and Canada is famous for its wheat, and it gets cold in Canada. Now, what a number of researchers discovered is that wheat has this amazing de-icing capability and is able to continue photosynthesis even under freezing conditions. And so a group of scientists says, we got to look at these wheat leaves and see how it pulls it off. And what they discovered is that, as moisture begins to come upon these wheat leaves under very cold conditions, is that the texture of the wheat leaf is designed in such a way that it takes these little tiny droplets of water and brings them together to make a big drop. And that causes weight on the wheat leaf, which is kind of, not that strong, and actually causes the water to bounce off and therefore keeps some moisture off the wheat leaf, even under freezing conditions, and the wheat can continue to grow.
I find that fascinating. I mean, as humans, we do that sort of stuff all the time. I've been up in the mountains at times, and you try and bake something or cook something, and you have to add salt to the water because the water boils at a lower temperature and the salt raises the boiling point. The idea that nature has found a way to keep leaves from freezing in cold, moist environments that's really fascinating. Have scientists been able to take this research and figure out how to use it for practical purposes that we do?
Well, we've had de-icing technology for, the last 50 years. But what happened is these scientists says, maybe the wheat leaves do it better than we do. And so they copied the designs and the surface of the wheat leaves, basically putting an iron oxide on top of a copper surface that mimicked what we see in wheat leaves, and discovered that you can sustain the de-icing down to 50 degrees below centigrade, 50 degrees centigrade below zero. And the best we had done before was 15. This is 35 degrees centigrade better than what we've been able to achieve before. And what's exciting to me is, hey, if you can get it down to 50 degrees centigrade, that covers all air traffic, because, airplanes fly at conditions that are warmer than minus 50 degrees centigrade. And I don't know if you've ever been in an airport, Jeff, in the wintertime. We're sitting on the tarmac and they're putting this de-icing fluid on the wings and the tail, and you waste an hour, and then it gets up there and it still accumulates ice. And they say we have to flow at a lower elevation. As one who flies a lot, I'm looking forward to that time when we don't have to worry about de-icing aircraft at all. You can fly on time. Ice will never accumulate in the wings, which means that aircraft can carry more weight in the wintertime, which is going to have a big economic payoff. And as a radio astronomer, what really thrills me is we're going to be able to keep our radio telescopes de-iced under very cold conditions. And what thrills me about that, one thing I learned when I was doing radio astronomy research, when you observe at minus 40, and it doesn't matter whether it's minus 40 Fahrenheit or centigrade, it's the same temperature. When you observe at minus 40 or colder, the quality of the observations goes up by a factor 3 or 4 times. But the problem is your telescope ices up. So if we could have the telescope mirror designed in such a way that it would never ice up, then we as radio astronomers could get reliable quality observations anytime the temperature drops below minus 40.
That's an astounding point. And I just kind of want to highlight that is, you said that we kind of get it down to maybe minus 15 Celsius, but yet using this technology for the wheat leaves, we can push it down to -50. I mean, that is a phenomenal accomplishment, because if you go outside -50 degrees, whether you're talking Fahrenheit or Celsius, you can pretty much throw a steaming hot bottle of water, or steaming bucket of water up in the air, and it almost freeze instantaneously. The fact that wheat and surfaces cannot ice, that is a phenomenal accomplishment. And I want to just ask you this question: since we've used technology in nature to advance our technology beyond what we could do, that seems to have a pretty profound apologetic point. What are the apologetic implications of this and other discoveries?
Well, the fact that we see in living organisms designs that are better than we've been able to achieve is evidence that the one that created these organisms has to be more intelligent, more technologically advanced, more knowledgeable and powerful than we human beings. It's amazing we got it down to -15 degrees centigrade. But to see this plant, this wheat plant, being able to do it down to copying the technology and getting it down to -50, that's an enormous improvement, and basically encourages. There's a creator, far more intelligent, knowledgeable than we are. He's designed these systems and the organisms he's created. We'd be wise to copy those in order to advance our technology and well-being. And again, as someone from Canada, I'm looking forward to being able to drive roads that are ice-free, even under very cold conditions. And I'm looking forward to being able to drive roads where they don't have to put salt in the roads. I hate salt because it corrodes my car.
Well, a lot of places have moved to sand, but I am kind of curious, is this a occasional discovery where we find things like this? Or how frequently do we find that nature has a better design than what humans have been working on and coming up with so far?
Yeah, Jeff, all you need to do is go to some journal archive website like PubMed and put in BioInspired designs. You'll be popping up a research paper at least as frequently as once a week. So literally every week, we're discovering at least one new bio-inspired design that's going to enable us to live a better life.
So it seems like that's just pretty profound evidence that our universe was created. It has a purpose. It's designed, at least as far as life goes, if nothing else.
Right.
How have you found naturalists tend to respond to that?
Well, they seem to think that, hey, it does happen in nature, but it's not that big of a deal. And that's where I think it's important to say, wait a minute, we actually see things that are superior in these created systems than we do what we can pull off. I mean, for example, there are machines that are running inside the cell, and we got the same machines, but the difference is the machines running inside the cell run with far greater efficiency than the machines we build. The fact that nature does it better than us tells us that something smarter than us and more knowledgeable than us must be behind nature.
I find that discovery just fascinating. And I know if anybody wants to go look at one, just go investigate the firefly and the kind of light it makes and how it transmits. I know there's an abundance of evidence there. Hugh, I thank you for your comments. You know, the reality of it is when we go look at nature, it provides numerous examples of better designs than what humans who've been thinking about it and actively working on it have been able to come up and accomplish. And that really does point towards a creator.